Coming up on 5 Minute News. Trump attacks judge's wife after gag order reinstated. Russia's Supreme Court outlaws LGBTQ activism. And US House expels Representative George Santos. It's Friday, December 1. I'm Anthony Davis. Donald Trump renewed attacks on the wife of the judge in the New York civil fraud trial of his business empire, before and almost immediately after an appellate court on Thursday reinstated a gag order against him in the case. The New York appellate court decided to reapply the gag order that barred the former U.S. president and his lawyers from making public statements about court staff in his civil fraud trial. Trump on Wednesday attacked Dawn Engeron, the wife of the judge, Arthur Engeron, and the judge's clerk, on his social media platform Truth Social. He called Dawn Engeron a Trump-hating wife and said that she and Arthur Engeron's law clerk had taken over control of the New York State witch hunt trial aimed at me, my family, and the Republican Party. On Thursday, the gag order against him, which had been paused 2 weeks ago, was reinstated, but it did not stop Trump lashing out further. The order only specifies comments about members of Judge Engeron's staff, not his family. Trump posted screenshots of vulgar and profane anti-Trump messages on Twitter, falsely claiming they had been made by Dawn Engeron, prompting her swiftly to assert that she does not have an account. Engeron had imposed the gag order on Trump and his lawyers in October after they repeatedly went after his court staff, including his principal law clerk, Allison Greenfield. Trump is accused of inflating his net worth by billions of dollars to dupe lenders and insurers. Russia's Supreme Court effectively outlawed LGBTQ plus activism on Thursday, the most drastic step against advocates of gay, lesbian, and transgender rights in the increasingly conservative country. Ruling in response to a lawsuit filed by the Justice Ministry, the court labeled what the suit called the LGBTQ movement, operating in Russia, as an extremist organization and banned it. The ruling is the latest step in a decade-long crackdown on LGBTQ plus rights in Russia under President Vladimir Putin, who has emphasized traditional family values during his 24 years in power. Thursday's closed-door hearing lasted 4 hours. No one besides Justice Ministry representatives were allowed in, and there was no defendant. Journalists were taken into the courtroom only for the reading of the verdict by Judge Oleg Nefedov, who wore a face mask, apparently for health reasons. The case was classified, and the ministry didn't disclose any evidence, saying only that authorities had identified signs and manifestations of an extremist nature in the movement it seeks to ban, including incitement of social and religious discord. Multiple rights activists have noted the lawsuit was lodged against a movement that is not an official entity, and that under its broad and vague definition, Russian authorities could crack down on any individuals or groups deemed to be part of it. Multiple Russian independent media outlets and rights groups added rainbow symbols to their logos on social media in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community. Amnesty International called the ruling shameful and absurd, warning it could lead to a blanket ban on LGBTQ organizations, violate freedom of association, expression, and peaceful assembly, and lead to discrimination. The House voted on Friday to expel Republican George Santos of New York after a critical ethics report on his conduct that accused him of converting campaign donations for his own use. He was just the 6th member in the chamber's history to be ousted by colleagues. Expulsion requires support from 2/3 of the House, a purposefully high bar, but a blistering House Ethics Committee report that accused Santos of breaking federal law proved decisive. As it became clear that he would be expelled, Santos placed his overcoat over his shoulders, shook hands with conservative members who voted against his expulsion, and departed the House chamber. House Speaker Mike Johnson soon took the gavel, quieted the chamber, and solemnly instructed the House clerk to inform the governor of New York that Santos's former House seat was now vacant. Santos had fought the expulsion effort, leading his own defense during House floor debate and in conducting a news conference and interviews. Of the previous expulsions in the House, 3 were for disloyalty to the Union during the Civil War. The remaining 2 occurred after the lawmakers were convicted of crimes in federal court. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.
Mad Magazine.
Advertising mascots.
B-movie posters.
And cartoons.
Oh yeah, can't forget cartoons.
If you get the funky connection that ties these pop culture gems together, you'll dig 2 designers walk into a bar.
See, we're a couple of creatively curious pals living between the bookends of grand museums and dive bars.
Hey, you know the place, the sweet spot where highbrow and lowbrow become drinking buddies.
So join our barroom chats as we talk influential work and uncover stories of how the familiar became iconic. Think behind the music for the stuff we love.
Check out our website at 2designerswalkintoabar.com.
And listen wherever you get your podcasts or visit evergreenpodcasts.com.